Great to have you join us this afternoon. Ahead of Ghana's mission to the African Union, Amachum Amwa has served notice of pushing for visa requirements imposed on travels to Botswana to be lifted. Ghana is among few countries belonging to the Commonwealth whose citizens are required to obtain visa on arrival in Botswana at a cost of $150. Some Ghanaians, including Joy News' Joseph Akable, are currently in Botswana participating in a high-level AU dialogue on governance. Ambassador Chum Amwa tells Joy News getting such restrictions removed will boost relations among countries on the continent.
It was a surprise to us also when I went to their website and I saw that there was only a few Commonwealth countries that require visa, and Ghana was one. It's something that we're going to take up with the ministry to see how best we can remedy the situation.
You think we should open up a bit and allow Ghanaians in as well?
Yes, they should. You know, I mean, I know that Ghanaians are not the criminals that they are. They are projecting. Maybe something happened. I don't know what happened. I don't have the full story. But whatever it is, we need to go into it, and then maybe the two governments can have bilateral agreements, and it will be. Because Ghana has visa-free regimes with a number of countries, so I think we can work this out.
Now, Botswana's Ministry for Nationality, Migration and Gender Affairs, or the Minister, Dorcas Makato, has meanwhile been defending the restriction imposed on Ghana. She spoke to Joy News.
I wouldn't want to go there and talk about why Ghana, why that one. I can just say that we do have some visa requirements in a number of countries. Restriction of movement, to me, it's normal for any government. But we are currently working on trying to open up a little bit more, and we will be evaluating all the various countries that require a visa. Some of it has to do with reciprocal arrangements that you have. Therefore, to me, is an area that we can still pursue, but it's an area that you have to control movement. I know that at Africa level we are talking about less control, but you can't just have open borders without necessarily having the necessary controls that are put in place when people are moving across countries and across borders. But certainly you have to do it in such a way that it facilitates the movement. It also facilitates trade. It facilitates a number of things. But we don't want to believe that you have to open everything without any controls, none whatsoever, and then you believe that you can be in control. You can't.
Back to Ghana now, and Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia says a government has acquired funding for the Ghana Education Trust Fund, GET Fund, to complete all uncompleted projects in senior high schools in the country. He said the amount involved is $1.5 billion and will also be used to construct new facilities for senior high schools. Dr. Bawumia made the disclosure at the 30th anniversary celebration of this year's Kakube Festival in Nandong, the Upper West region. Rafiq Salam reports.
Kakube Festival is celebrated by the chiefs and people of the Nandong traditional area in the Upper West region. It is celebrated to thank God for a bumper harvest and also serves as an opportunity for the people to discuss how to develop the area. Special guest of honor was Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. He used the opportunity to enumerate the various programs implemented by the MPP administration. Dr. Bawumia announced the government has acquired $1.5 billion for the GET Fund to complete uncompleted projects in senior high schools in the country, as well as build new ones.
We have taken this facility and we will be making sure across all our senior high schools, whether it's dormitories, classrooms, teachers' bungalows, and so on, offices, we move to complete once and for all a lot of the projects that have been there for, in some cases, decades, and we have not completed them. But thankfully, under this program, under this $1.5 billion GET Fund facility, we are going to proceed and complete these uncompleted projects, as well as construct new projects of infrastructure for our senior high schools and vocational schools.
He then went for the jugular and reintroduced what has come to be known as the record challenge. He challenged the opposition NDC to show one major road they have completed in 8 years of their reign in the Upper West region.
In the last 8 years of the previous NDC government, there was not one major road completed in the Upper West region. Not one. And I challenge the NDC to come and show us one road, major road in the Upper West region that they completed in 8 years of government. One, Bakupe, just one road. When I asked them to show one social intervention that they did in 8 years, they are still searching for it. So I'll give them an easier question, since they say they did infrastructure. I'm saying roads. Show me one major road that you completed in the Upper West region in 8 years of government. It's a simple question, and we will wait for the answer.
Interior Minister, a member of Parliament for Nandom, Ambrose P. Derry, used the festival to account for his stewardship to the people.
Yesterday, I made a cross-section of the constituency and listened to them about how I am performing. All of you should be able to testify. I leave that to you. But at least you've seen a change in the roads, in the water situation, in electricity.
Chief of Co, Nadom Piejire III, reading a speech on behalf of the Nandomna, expressed concern over the fallen standards of education in the Nandom traditional area and proposed to institute a fund starting from next year to sponsor the education of needy but brilliant students. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia earlier inspected ongoing work on the Lora Nandom Hambly Highway, which has been awarded to PW Ghanem Limited. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam, Nandom.
Now, Deputy Minister in charge of Energy and Power, William Oreku Edu, says the erratic power supply being experienced in parts of the country has been resolved. Speaking to me on the Super Morning Show on Joy FM this morning, Mr. Edu assured power supply will stabilize in the coming days. According to him, the problem was as a result of some technical challenges suffered by the Jubilee 10 and Sankofa oil fields, which hampered the supply of gas.
Yes, we have had some challenges the last several days with the power situation in the country. But I'm happy to announce to the good people of this country that the worst part is we're over the worst of this challenge. And I can say categorically that going forward, the challenges will be totally minimized to the barest minimum, if at all.
What specifically was the problem?
Yes, we had... basically, the technical problems. It began with the Sankofa field and the Jubilee field. There was a tripping. I don't want to get into the technicalities of it, but there were some challenges with the supply of gas due to technical problems from those two fields. And just a few days later, we had also a serious challenge with the supply from Nigeria, which normally would, of course, feed the Tema enclave. So we had a double whammy, which really was a little bit too much to handle in the short term. But I'm glad to say that the good engineers, VRA, ECG, Gridco, Ghana Gas, CMPC, put their heads together. And as I'm speaking to you right now, the worst of the problem is over. We are really out of the woods now.
So you're saying that what caused this was a problem with gas supply?
Yes. Basically, yes. Both for the East Enclave and the West Enclave.
Okay. So can we say confidently that since these were technical challenges, they have been rectified in a way that they would not come up again?
Absolutely, sir. Then I can say that we have solved the problems, and barring any unforeseen circumstance, this thing is over.
When were they resolved?
Last night, I think we were, the engineers and all the technical people were quite confident that we've really gotten over the situation.
Mr. Edu, we had people who didn't have power last night, as of last night.
last night. If it is distribution challenges, I can quite understand, because as far as the generation and transmission is concerned, but of course you will end up with, few problems here and there that is left with ECG to mop up, so to speak, because the generation and transmission, we don't have any problems there. But when it comes to the minutiae of the distribution, that you tend to have a few challenges after such an event. That one, I'm sure within the shortest possible time, ECG will resolve it.
You see, during this time, ECG also carried out some repair works, and we often found them communicating to the public in various ways. That these are the challenges we have in these areas, and as a result, you will not have power. However, we have had areas outside of these announced areas, for instance, some areas here in Accra, which still do not have power. Are you saying that these are distribution challenges?
That is exactly what I'm saying. What happened was totally unforeseen. So we were caught by surprise. These are machines we are working with here. And once you get these unforeseen challenges, especially the two major challenges that we had, both from the east and the west, it really was a terrible situation. So everybody was caught unprepared. I mean, these things, you can't prepare for these things. I mean, that's happened to Joy FM. Sometimes some of your machines will just play up, and you just have to apologize to your people whilst you rectify the situation. But like I said, I'm happy to say that we have gotten over the worst of it. If there are some few distribution problems here and there, they will be mopped up within the shortest possible time by the ECG.
Now, moving on, families of 7 Mansour Nkwanta residents killed 4 months ago say the police should not be allowed to prepare the docket based on which 21 of its members indicted for the killings will be prosecuted. The police had alleged the deceased were armed robbers who engaged them in a gun battle until they were brought down. They even displayed the weapons used by the victims. But a committee which was set up by government to investigate the incident says there's no evidence to back the claims of the police. Kamla Adum has more.
Relatives of 7 residents of Mansour Nkwanta in the Ashanti region react to the killing of their kinsmen by police in July this year. The 7, according to police, were part of a robbery syndicate that killed a police corporal the week before.
They are killing us, brothers. This is not the first time and this is not the second time. That they will not pass freely inside Zongo or anywhere for us to leave them in peace. If anything happens, we will to retaliate.
Ashanti Region Police Commander DCOP Kwesi Mensah Duku held a news conference a day after the incident where a number of weapons, including assault rifles and AK-47s, were displayed as those supposedly used by the 7 during the shootout with police.
Further intelligence gathered indicated that it was the same group that attacked a commercial sprinter bus and killed the police officer and wounded one other on Wednesday, 11 July 2018.
Commissioner at SRAJ, Joseph Whittal, believes the families of a deceased could trigger an action at the Commission in this regard to demand the publication of a report.
The right is actually in getting the states to either to come out with a report clarifying whether the allegations are capable of proceeding to court for any trial or what actually is the outcome. To be frank with you, it is always possible for the relations to call upon trial to ensure that the police are transparent in terms of releasing the report for them to know.
It appears the call for prosecution may not yield any immediate results because the Attorney General's office has not received a docket on the matter, and guests were from the same police. Here's Deputy Attorney General Joseph Dediok Benka.
If it has to be prosecuted, there has to be a docket built by the police through an any investigative body, BNI or police, properly built and forwarded to us for action to be taken. And you see, this is a matter that I'm not discussing the merits, but you know that in murder cases, the standard of proof is so high. Yeah. You may have to get people who come and then say that I saw policeman A shoot at this person.
Is this perhaps the time for calls for the establishment of an independent body to investigate all complaints against the police to be heeded? Well, maybe. Commissioner of SRAJ, Joseph Whittal, believes it's long overdue.
The Commission in the past has pushed for an independent body that should investigate all complaints against the police itself. These are the matters that would expose the need for the country to wake up from its slumber. Because the police are getting away with so much murder, and we don't do anything about it.
While we wait for some action on the 21 interdicted officers and a possible prosecution, or maybe not, Ashanti Region Police Commander DCOP Kwesi Mensah-Duku is in some trouble. Managing editor of a New Crusading Guide newspaper, Abdul Malik Kwekubako, is asking questions of DCOP Duku.
Police Commander, Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mr. Kwesi Duku, at a news conference displayed 7 boxes with each containing 25 rounds of ammunition, 88 pieces of ammunition of AK-47 assault rifles, and some clothes that were retrieved from the suspected armed robbers. This is from the
Still watching Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Still up ahead, students of Sogakope Senior High School living in fear over attacks from outsiders as a female student escaped from attempted rape from an attacker who was reportedly wielding a gun and a machete. And for all the trending fashion ideas you might have missed during the recent All-Africa Music Awards, my colleague Kadi will bring a recap of the red carpet from that event held over the weekend. The details and more coming up soon. Thanks for staying with us. Now, on 7th February 2018, the police and the military deployed to Fuase in the Echima-Kwauma district of the Ashanti region allegedly killed 4 people. Till date, the families have resolved never to bury their loved ones until government investigates who killed them. Meanwhile, another victim, Stephen Ntia, who is paralyzed because he was also shot in the spine, is yearning to die. Jojo Kobna brings you excerpts from Joy News' documentary, As If We Weren't Humans.
On 7th February 2018, residents of Fuase in the Echima-Kwauma district of the Ashanti region protested the relocation of district capital Fuase to Twediɛ. The police and military teams were sent to maintain peace, but it turned tragic as 4 people were killed and many injured. Stephen Nsia narrates that on that day, he went to run an errand for his church when he was shot.
So when I was going, there was a crowd making something like they were making noise. And when I got there, I stood there and called my friend, and he said he's around that area. And I said, okay, I'm also here, so you should come and let us settle everything that. You should come and let us settle what he told me. And the police guys came, and the moment they landed, they just make shooting. So I was panicked. I couldn't go back, and I couldn't go forward. So I decided to find a place to hide. What I just seen is I was at the hospital and was paralyzed, and I couldn't do anything. So that is what all about what I can say.
Bedridden, he has lost the desire of living again. He wants to die.
Because aside near men to me and as you so no pain I mean no think the woo and kay mommy.
persons were killed by the joint police and military team: Douglas Adai, Kojo Ofori, Prince Apia Boateng, and Kweku Seth. Their families are buried in deep sorrow and have vowed never to bury them until they find out the truth behind these killings.
So, I was abandoning Abamaka and the Yensian.
Now, Abano, Omokacham, some moments here.
Say, intimacy, if you say, I'm Mamma, and then Ranso, Ewo. Nti sɛ obi sɛ wadeɛ ɛsɛ oni no ɛkasa ɛma ohun sɛ wasɛ wadeɛ ansa na mfiti prɛko pɛ wakunu na kyerɛ sɛ mafa no makosie no wɔkyena bɛka sɛ me ankasa no matutu akuno na wasa abɛkyi me akɔ.
Now, students of Sugakope Senior High School are living in fear over attacks from outsiders who sometimes use their school as a thoroughfare. According to the assistant headmaster in charge of administration, sometime last week, a female student of the school was nearly raped on campus. The girl managed to flee from the attacker, who was wielding a gun and a machete. Land litigation has stalled the school fencing project as some residents also continue to encroach on parts of the school. Maxwell Agbagba has more in this report.
Sometime in 2015, the then headmaster of the school, Mr. Kwame Teria Ago, raised concerns about the state of insecurity on the campus. He is quoted by the Ghanaian Times newspaper as saying, quote, "We have had about 6 attempted rape cases on the campus since last year," unquote. Years after he raised the concern, the situation still persists. 6 days ago, a female student of the school was nearly raped as she prepared for classes. According to reports, the attacker had a gun and a machete. Here is the assistant headmaster of the school, Mr. Sefa Sokpa, narrating how the incident happened.
At about 3:15 a.m., a girl was in her cubicle and an unknown face just appeared and sat on her bed. How he managed to enter, the girl couldn't tell, but he always saw the figure beside her bed. Unfortunately, the figure that entered was armed with a gun, a knife, and a screwdriver. And all that the gentleman demanded from her was either he had sex with her or he kills her. The man attempted to move back to the door when the lady had the vim by pushing the guy away, and they had a chance to run out of the room and shouted for help. That was how the girl escaped. The school is not fenced. The authorities attempted to fence it, but the people around will not permit the fencing project to go on because of the land litigation as they claim. So each time the fence is attempted to be built, they pull it down.
National President of the old students of the school, Maxwell Lukuto, wants government to help in fencing the school.
Security comes with protection. And if you are talking about security of a school, the first and most important thing anybody can do will be to fence the place. Because if the place is a thoroughfare, anybody can come in and go out at any time. Then it endangers the life of staff and students on campus. And these are little ones that have left home and they are here. And if you leave them open the way it is now, I'm not sure it argues well for us as parents sleeping at home in our world and well-secured houses, and our children are here and not so protected. The issue is that PTA started building the fence wall, and there was an issue with surrounding villages. And so there was a decision by the minister that the wall, the erection of the wall should be put on hold for a little while for the issue to be resolved. And so we are still waiting on government for the final decision on where the school has to wall so that the PTA can continue. So the ball is now in the court of government.
South Tong District Chief Executive and Head of the District Security Council, DISEC, Emmanuel Agama, says disagreements over the school lands have stalled the project. He says plans are far advanced to commence work again in 2019.
We want to assist the school authorities wall the remaining land. Now there's an issue of access. The current access route passes through the school. And therefore, we've made a budget, provisions for budget in 2019 for us to create an access route, alternative one, which will not pass through the school.
Now, the chief of Godonu Hohoi, Togbe Osei III, has advised the people of Peki and Hohoi to stay united to accelerate development. The traditional leader was speaking at a health walk organized to announce the preparations for this year's festival. Henry Kwesu-Bedu has more in the following report.
Patrons of the event say apart from creating awareness for the Gbedukwoza festival, the walk is also to promote healthy living. The group started a 5-kilometer walk at the Yimensa toll booth, climbed the Ibri mountain and ended at the Pediasi Lodge, spicing it up with some aerobics session. The chief of Godonu Hohoi, Togbe Osei III, said in unity lies strength.
Togbe Osei the Royal House of Bingodon, Togbe Kuto.
Peki and Hohoi are two towns bonded by lineage. As we have been together for the past 2 decades, I hope the love and togetherness stays forever because unity is strength. Our aim is to unify the two traditional areas through development.
The festival marks the 23rd anniversary of the reunification of the two towns. This year's celebration is under the theme Consolidating 2 Decades of Gbedukwo Unity for Accelerated Development. Henry Kwesu-Bedu's report for Joy News.